We're excited about this year. I mean, on paper, things look good, so it's easy for people to get excited about what they see if they follow what we've done and who we've brought in and who's coming back. But there's still a lot of question marks that have to be answered, and you got people returning for their fifth year or coming out of injury situations from last year. You've got a couple of transfers that we think are going to help us, but it still remains to be seen. They're very talented people, and then the freshman class grew at the last minute with Connor joining them and Connor McLean coming in initially planning to defer for the Olympic Games, and some injury and setbacks and things sort of precipitated an early arrival for her. So that was a shot in the arm that we didn't anticipate. And suddenly we have the largest team that I've ever coached, and so on paper it looks great in terms of if our health holds and they don't kill each other and they can continue to be selfless the way they were last year as in the face of adversity, then I think we have a real good chance to do something special. But again, it's October, and we've got a long way to go.
Getting Haley Bryant back for just another season and everything she's accomplished so far, how does somebody like that stay driven to do it one more time? And national championship, I'm assuming, is what she thinks about.
Yeah, I mean, I think Haley's a different person now than she was as a freshman. You guys remember, as a freshman, as talented as she was and as impactful as she was, there were some inconsistencies and things that showed up. She's a much more mature person now. She enjoys the leadership role that she finds herself in now. I think that's motivating to her. I think she understands that her personality and the way that she goes about her business is something that our team needs to emulate, and so I just think she's enjoying her role. I think she's comfortable in her own skin now, and very just comfortable in the role that she's in. She loves LSU, and she wants to finish on a high note, and then see whether or not she comes back for her. This class will be the last one that gets that fifth year COVID year.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
Kaya Johnson coming off the injury. How is she doing, and what do you expect to see from her?
She's doing great. She, full go. She's been pain free. She came in ready to roll, and then we had a little illness that set her back. But just got word from the trainer for the first time this year that she'll be full blast this week. So I'm telling you, the sun shines a little brighter when Kaya Johnson's rolling the way that she can, and so just her presence alone makes a big difference for us, and you can already feel that. I mean, even if we didn't add the freshmen and the transfers, just getting her and having Alona come back and would be a really nice team. But now we've expanded that, and certainly getting Aaliyah, who you'll talk to in a minute, getting her going. We've given her a little bit of downtime coming out of World Championships, but she's obviously a big cog in our wheel too. So Kaya's doing great, and we expect her to be fully recovered.
Jay, obviously you could just go with a lineup and say you're all, a bunch of all-arounders with Kaya and Haley and Alona and Connor, I guess, and Aaliyah certainly. But having this depth, is this going to afford you maybe more than usual to try to give people a break here and there, and not do as many all-around routines?
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope. I mean, that's the hope. The hope is that with the numbers that we have this year, if our health holds, that we can be strategic in the way that we make some lineup decisions throughout the year and put ourselves in a little fresher place. We had to ride Aaliyah and Haley in the all-around every single week last year. That's not a recipe for success in most years, and we had to really manage their bodies and keep them from training too much, and so hopefully it grants us a little bit more flexibility, the ability to pull an event or two away from some of the all-arounders when we can and put somebody else in. But again, that's all theoretical until we see where everybody is. We have a lot of people on different pages right now for various things. Aaliyah's coming out of World Championships. Connor is just getting ramped up from coming out of an injury. Kaya's coming out of an injury. Some people are full blast. Haley and some others are full go right now. So I'd say we're all in a really good place from a physical fitness standpoint and a strength perspective and those kinds of things. But in terms of where they are gymnastically right now, it's not a real clear picture of what that's going to look like. But I'd like to know, if we get to December, I think we should, if we're healthy and everybody's moving in a relatively good direction, I think we can begin to start to project internally what we would like lineups to be in various meets, and that would be a luxury we haven't ever had here. I've had it in another place for, years gone by for a couple of times, but this is something unique to our experience here so far.
The same vein, does it let you specialize with some girls if
Yeah.
you really get somebody that's
Well, not everybody's an all-arounder anyway. So you've got some that, like Sierra's done 2 events for us for a long time and does a great job on those, but she doesn't have a UCL in her elbow, so vaulting and bars is not something that she even trains. So we have sort of built-in specialists already, but we also have a pretty big swath of our team trains all 4 events, and so I don't, from a specializing standpoint, I don't think you'll see it in terms of the way we train it, but I think you could see us go down maybe in some of those all-arounder numbers. I don't care anything about the all-around. Like, I'm not interested in who wins the all-around in a dual meet, and I hope our fans can understand where that comes from, because those individual things they kind of cloud the issue a little bit, and we really try to focus on the team. So if it's in our best interest as a team to put people in the all-around, that's what we're going to do. If it's not, then we won't. It's just going to be about what gives us the best chance to win on that day, or at least score where we want to score that day, and then also be strategic, hopefully, about resting and preserving our bodies, because April is where we want to be fresh and as healthy as possible.
It'd be awkward with her being in the room, but what kind of growth did you see out of Leah last year?
Oh, it's not awkward. I tell her all the time. It's tremendous. From the time she was a freshman to where she is now, she has shown tremendous growth as a competitor from a mind perspective. Physically, she's always been incredibly gifted and talented, but we saw tremendous growth in her consistency and her ability to communicate with us about where she is and how her body's feeling, and she managed this thing with Worlds pretty much herself. We had a little bit of guidance and framework that we put into it, but she knows her body as well as anybody, obviously, and so we trust her now, and she's shown a great deal of maturity and a maturation process over the last 2 years, and I think. We talk a lot about Haley, but, Aaliyah's role has got to continue too, in terms of the leadership that she shows and the tone that she sets, because she's not a hidden commodity anymore. Everybody knows who she is, and so everybody's going to be looking and looking to her for leadership, and I think she'll do a great job with that.
I guess that was kind of
Right.
my other question was,
Right, Lee? Yeah, okay.
was in the void, they stepped up last year. Now that, maybe you're back to full strength and then some, what do you think the mindset or needs to be for the collective of the team?
Well, I think, we learned a lot about ourselves last year. It was, chronicled very well, with a docuseries and the whole 9 yards. We learned what it took to get there. We learned how to compete for the right reasons for each other and not let our own, we all have ambition. We all have personal ambition and goals we want to have for ourselves, and we acknowledge that. But what we learned through the adversity that we had is that we've got to set those things aside. And when they did that, they competed at a higher level. No matter who we put in, they were able to do the job. And so hopefully we can take the lessons of that and not try to duplicate what happened last year, but understand that there's certain attributes that a team has to have if it's going to be successful at the championship level. And so we hope that we can adopt that and make it sure that it's actually part of our culture and not just a one-off that happened because we had a bunch of injuries. Can we be selfless? Can we compete with one another daily in the gym in a healthy manner, and understand and trust the process, and with the overarching goal remaining, no matter what or how many times I get to compete this week or the next or the following, that the idea is that we all stand on top of the podium at the end of the year. And that's going to be the challenge, because it is a large team and it's a talented team, a deep team. And so, the term "a lot of mouths to feed" gets said a lot, but they only need to be fed if they're hungry for the wrong things, right? And so it's about keeping those personal goals that we all have in check and keeping the focus on the we rather than the me. I mean, that's a tired cliche, but it's absolutely true.
Coach, right here in the back. Could you talk a little bit about Savannah, what she's added to the team,
Yeah.
transferring from Florida?
Yeah.
And then another question, SEC Championships is in New Orleans this year. Is that giving the team something to look forward to a little bit?
Yeah, I think. Well, I'll answer the second half of that first. I think getting SECs back in New Orleans is huge. It's a tremendous thing for our fans. The last time we were there, we won it, and it was an exciting time. It was the first time it had ever been there. It was supposed to have already come back, and COVID interrupted that. So we're extremely excited to have it back in New Orleans, and really want our fan base to get on board. I hope we can set a record there. I personally would love to see it in New Orleans more often than it's currently scheduled. I think I'm a proponent of maybe putting a 2-city rotation together and having a couple of multi-year contracts that go consecutively, where you get kind of a semi-permanent home for the championship at a destination city. I'm not a fan of going to Birmingham. I'm not a fan of Huntsville did a great job, but it's just, I think these NBA arenas that we've shown we can sell now, I think it's important that the conference continue to push us to the forefront that way. That TV is very much engaged and bullish on our championship. They love it, and they want to continue to put it on the bigger linear platforms like ABC, and so it's an exciting time for our sport as a whole. And when we can go to a place like New Orleans and be in an NBA arena, that's big. That's big for our sport, and we need to be focused on that vision, not whether or not it's close to our campus. I realize New Orleans is close to our campus, and not every coach is going to feel great about that all the time. But if you were to go to Orlando, that'd be great too. If we're going to Atlanta, I don't want to be in Gwinnett. I want to be in State Farm, or where the Hawks play. Let's do something. Let's think bigger than what we've thought in the past about our sport. And New Orleans hosting again is a step in that direction. As far as Savannah, she's amazing. She's assimilated extremely well. Our team loves her to death. She's obviously very, very talented, can help us on all 4 events. You talk about the all-around. She says she's never competed all 4 in a single college meet, but I could foresee a chance for that to happen if she continues to do what she's doing so far. But she's fit really, really well with us, and is enjoying herself, and speaks highly of the things that she's observed about this team and the culture that she has stepped into within our team. And that's not necessarily negative about anybody else, but she feels she just feels like she's got a fresh start, and she's excited. And I love her to death. Our whole staff does. She's been great, and she's already providing leadership for us in ways that can be hard when you're kind of the new kid, and sometimes it's hard. You want to kind of keep your head down and fit in. She's done a great job, just like Cammie did last year. She's come in and fit right in, and has used her voice, has not been afraid to do so. If we're ever going to have a mature team, this is it. There's 11 seniors of various varieties of the 23. They're either 4th years, 5th years, or 6th years, and so if we're ever going to have a mature team, this ought to be it, and they ought to be able to handle the ebbs and flows of a season.
Yeah, I know I've asked you about this before, but just an update. Is Connor still planning to try to do this dual track thing with competing this season and trying to do elite preparation to try to make the Olympic team? And when does that start, or is it concurrent? How does that work?
I mean, to a certain degree, it's already started. Like she's. That's her mindset right now, but her body's going to tell her whether it can, whether it'll be seen through to fruition. But I think it's what she wants to do, and I think she's moving in that direction. Right now, the goal has been to get her healthy, get her happy, because she's, she was struggling with some things, and she's in a place now where she is happy, where her body's feeling better than it's felt in a long time. The first goal, the first order of business, is to get her collegiate routines where they need to be, and then begin to add to those things. It'll be similar to what Aaliyah did, in terms of the way the track will look. But the priority for her this year is to compete collegiately, and then in April, look at where she is and be able to ramp things up going into the summer if she, can get an opportunity to go to the Classic and championships and advance from there. But it's so early to tell, so I'm not making any predictions. I know that's her intention, that's her mindset, but a lot has to happen, for that to be the case. And so, it's not rocket science. It's just it's about pacing them correctly. And so, like, Aaliyah gets to come back down a little bit right now from the routines that she was doing, and then when she'll start doing full beam sets this week. Did you know that? Okay, good. But for that, compared to what she just did at Worlds, it's a little bit of a watered down beam set for her. So it's almost like she's, kind of come down anyway. So I think that Connor would be able to manage it in a very similar fashion to the way Aaliyah has.
Yeah, I guess that was just my other question was, is there anything that's going to be conflicting with Aaliyah's ramp up for the Olympics?
I don't think so. There's nothing that because she's already qualified, so Connor's is a little more complicated than Aaliyah's in that because Connor won the all-around the last time she competed at an elite meet, championships of the USA, not this summer, but the one before. And so the fact that she missed this summer's elite season means she's no longer officially on the national team, so she's got to earn that spot back. So she'll have to start getting ready a little more quickly probably than Aaliyah will, because she'll have to qualify into championships in the summer and then qualify to Olympic trials. So the speed of her coming out of the collegiate season will have to look a little bit more because Aaliyah's already done it. She went to Worlds. She's in Paris now, so she's done. So just the scheduling of things and the framework of it might look a little bit different, but in terms of a competition that she'll have to do or anything like that, no. No. No, because she's already there. So that's what I'm saying is, like, she can go through the season through April, and then she can start getting ready for late July, which is when Paris happens. So that she's got a pretty clear path to be able to manage that. Really, in some ways, it's probably going to be easier than it even was this year for her, assuming she's healthy. I mean, that's always the caveat. But I mean, she's set, and she knows how to manage it now, so it's easy. Right? Anybody else?